This is 10 Minutes with Tamara, and it is now, for me, October 9th, 2020, and Ananda here is in New Zealand, on the other side of the planet. How many miles away are you?
Oh my God, I have no idea. Oh,
Yeah?
6,000, I think, roughly.
Okay. And the funny thing is, you've been to this cabin that I'm in right now.
Yes, yes, I stayed there.
So it's a very, very small world. And Ananda here is one of my moms in the lead group we have on Facebook. And we've connected. I don't know, how long have we been connected? I can't remember. It's like a year.
Just over a year.
Yeah, because I remember you were pregnant and now you have a baby. So I know there's a time
Yeah.
there that and so the concept behind 10 Minutes with Tamara is that moms anywhere, including New Zealand and Australia too, can ask me questions and then I get to ask them questions. So do you have two specific questions that you want to ask?
Yes. Should I start with the first one?
Yeah, just start. Yeah.
So, after our experience with lead in my house, which was thanks to you and your Tupperware post, I started thinking about lead and subsequently realized that my entire new house, well, new to me, but 1929 house was contaminated with lead. And that set off a huge drama and cascade of events and renovations. And so now I've started a Facebook page, Lead Awareness New Zealand, NZ, to try to help other people realize that they might be in the same situation and not realizing it, and to help protect their kids. People sometimes will ask me, and I always have a different response, but I'm curious for you, what you would say if somebody had a baby and they're living in an old house and they had maybe $50 or $100 to spend on testing. What would you say would be the best way for them to test and find out how bad things might be?
So I always start with watch the movie because
Yeah.
watching the movie gives you context. It's funny because so many parents are reluctant to watch the movie. They're afraid of watching the movie. They're concerned that it'll bring up anxieties for them that they didn't have before. But really, the movie was designed to provoke thought and incite inquiry, inspire inquiry, start action and get people thinking about different things. So I think what happens to everyone when they watch the movie is they get ideas about their own situation. So if you're watching the movie and you see the porch scene, you're like, oh my God, that's my porch. Or you watch the movie and you see the window scene, you're like, oh my God, those are my windows. That'll help guide where you test. But if you watch the movie and you see the consumer goods scene and that's the thing that sets you off, well, maybe that's where you want to start. I mean, whatever you think resonates the most for you. That's what I designed these tools for, is so mothers have access to information that isn't easily found and that they don't have to spend a bunch of money testing. If your budget is that limited, buy yourself a set of lead-free dishes. I just re-outfitted the kitchen here at the cabin with all lead-free kitchen things. And I think I spent about $200. That's lead-free dishes, lead-free cups, lead-free bakeware, across the board. Anything she had that had either potential for lead or other contaminants I replaced, and it wasn't expensive. I think, save your $100. Don't do any testing unless you want to test the paint. So my one question for you is, what have you done in your house?
Oh my God. Well, we found so much stuff. So the biggest thing for us was our carpet. So I tested our carpet dust. That was one of the first things I tested. So I vacuumed it like really intensely and sent it to a lab that tests soil. And our carpet here underneath these windows was over 2,000 ppm lead just in the carpet. So we tore the carpet out through the whole house. And underneath the carpet, in some places, like near our bathroom, it had been repaired at some point, and there was planks of wood under the carpet that had just lead paint on them. So we had to replace all those. And then there used to be a fireplace that had a concrete base under it. The concrete was painted with lead paint, like the paint was in the concrete. So we had to destroy that whole thing and replace those floorboards. We had, if you look here, my house is a huge mess with these kids, but that window over there, there's a few of those. They used to be big lead light windows. we replaced all of those with just plain windows now because they were too big and not in very good condition to try to encapsulate.
What about
What
those
else?
beams on the ceiling? Were they leaded?
They are leaded, but I don't know. We're not really that concerned about that because I don't think it's that high. I think we had it tested with XRF and I can't remember, but I don't know. It would be really too difficult to try to get up there. But we do have a lot of wood in the rest of the house, like on the door frames and things like that. And anything else that's not in the ceiling, we put several layers of polyurethane on top.
You didn't put the polyurethane on the ceiling? You need to do that.
Oh, it's way too hard to get up there. You think it will dust if it's like a couple hundred ppm?
I think if it's original and hasn't been sealed, I think it's not good.
Well, it's one more thing to do. It's so hard to get up there, though.
Yeah. You could have someone spray it. You could have a professional come in and.
Yeah, but then we have like this kind of textured white stuff too, and I don't know what that's made out of. But then you have to worry you don't want to get on that. So.
Because that might be asbestos.
I don't know. I mean, if it's from the 20s, I don't think they had asbestos back then, did they? It's more like 50s and 60s, I think.
I don't know New Zealand construction at all. However, typically the textured ceilings were not from the 20s or 30s. They were applied later, and they were applied because the textured material is a fire retardant that's a high asbestos fire retardant, which is why they were applied. And if sorry, if there's no issue in terms of that's not compromised at all, I wouldn't have any concerns. Again, a clear coat could help contain that.
Well, that actually brings me to my second question.
Okay.
Is asbestos. Like how would you compare the asbestos risk to the lead risk? Because so in New Zealand here, people are really like, everybody knows asbestos is bad and everybody is really paranoid about asbestos, but not so much known about lead and not so much worry about lead. People tend to kind of assume all old houses have it and it's not that big of a deal.
Well,
so what do you think about that?
The main thing that I have seen in my experience is that asbestos is almost always painted with lead paint. So the exciting thing is that there's standards for dealing with asbestos. And when you properly use those containment measures, then you are also using sufficient containment for lead paint. Does that answer your question? Brings up a whole new.
Yeah, what about the health effects of each one?
Well, cancer that's the great thing is the silver lining. The great thing is that you can clearly identify mesothelioma as an asbestos-related cancer. There's no question. It's been super well studied. So it's easy to. That's why the legislation is so strong in that area. Whereas all the other symptoms that are related to lead, headaches, GI issues, memory issues, learning disabilities, increased risk of heart disease, increased risk of kidney failure, other health issues are also non-specific and seemingly caused by many things that you can't say, oh, that's lead that did this. One scene that was great in the film that we cut out was Dr. Schwartz and Dr. Levin said, well, if lead made you break out in big purple spots and you knew that was the lead disease, people would have banned lead a long time ago. Well, asbestos has that going for it. Asbestos gives you a specific cancer that's traceable to asbestos exposure. And as a result, it's much better regulated. So thanks for chatting. I really appreciate that you took the time from New Zealand.
Yes.
You know where to find me. I'm going to put this up on YouTube and on Facebook and on my blog, Let's Save Mama, letsavemama.com. And if you have any other follow-up thoughts after we publish this, you can also include some thoughts and comments on the video. And I hope other people will ask questions or maybe be inspired to kind of take this inquiry to the next level. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Tamara. See ya.
Bye-bye.